to the Dark Bloom Society. I'm going to start off today's video asking you a question. Have you ever felt judged for reading romance? Yes? No? Let me know in the comments. Maybe someone called it fluff or unrealistic. But listen, lovely, here's the truth, and tell me if I'm wrong. Romance novels aren't just about happy endings. It's about power, healing, learning, what you dislike and like, about finding yourself, and happily ever after is what happens when you dare to be vulnerable. I'm Aggie, romance and dark romance author and founder of the Dark Bloom Society, where we explore stories of obsession, power, and transformation. And today, I want to share why I read and write romance and dark romance novels, and the things that they've taught me about love, hope, and even about myself. I started reading romance because I wanted a story about love. I was drawn to stories where people could be broken, complicated, and still find redemption. But when I started writing romance, and especially dark romance, something wonderful shifted. I realized these stories aren't just fantasies. They're reflections of us, our deepest fears, our desires, our hunger for connections, knowing we can make mistakes and rise again even after them. Romance to me is the study of emotional power and transformation. So, if you've ever wondered what makes romance so powerful, here are 5 lessons I've learned from reading and writing it. Lesson number 1. It's written by women for women. Romance gives women a voice. We get to see ourselves as complex, multi-layered beings, strong, soft, ambitious, wounded, sensual, all at once. And as a writer, I love that I can create heroines who aren't perfect, but real. Women like Mariana in my Dark Veil series, who struggles with alcoholism. Emmy from Center Stage, who at 40 is finally brave enough to find her true self. And Nikki from Sweet and Spicy, whose physical scars had her hiding and putting up with emotional abuse. These women, even though fictional, found their voice, found their power, leaned into their sensuality, and maybe even found love as they transformed. These women in dark romances fall apart, find the strength to bloom again. That's power. Number 2, it celebrates love and hope. Every romance story, no matter how dark, holds a promise that love is possible, that healing exists, that no matter how far we fall, there's always a way back to the light. In dark romance, that journey is just messier, with more ups and downs, and maybe that's why it feels so honest. Lesson number 3. It teaches that pleasure is not shameful. This one is so important to me. For so long, for one reason or another, women were taught to be quiet about desire, to be shameful about experimenting and feeling pleasure. Romance novels say, pleasure is part of your wholeness. It reminds us that sex isn't dirty or wrong. It's connection, it's communication, it's learning more about ourselves. And it's powerful when we allow ourselves to want. That's a big part of the Dark Bloom Society. What we stand for, embracing the parts of ourselves we were told to hide, our power, our sensuality, as well as our fragility. That's a hard word. And number 4, it builds empathy. Romance teaches us to see people differently, to understand why someone might guard their heart or why they run from love. Every character, every lover, every villain has a past. And when we see that, we learn compassion. Writing romance has made me more patient with other human beings because every person carries a story you can't see at first glance. Lesson number 5. Reading transforms us. Beyond the genre, reading anything changes our minds and our hearts. It expands empathy, vocabulary, imagination. It lowers stress and it heals. But romance specifically, it reminds us that love is still the most important radical act of courage there is. So, to wrap this very philosophical video, romance isn't just an escape. It's a mirror, one that shows us who we are and who we could be if we allowed ourselves to love and live fully. Whether it's light or dark, tender or dangerous, every story whispers the same truth. You are worthy of love, of pleasure, of transformation, and that to me is why romance will always matter. So if you enjoyed this reflection, I have a gift for you. Download my free guide to a more sensual living with journal prompts, rituals, and even a short story. Welcome to the Dark Bloom Society. For more behind the scenes, thoughts on power, sensuality, and transformation. Now, tell me in the comments below, why do you like to read romance? I'd love to hear your story. See you in the next Dark Bloom Society.